everybody, and welcome to a video on the Constructor Criticism YouTube channel. I'm Spencer, host of Constructor Criticism and Limited Time Only, two podcasts about getting better at Magic the Gathering. And today we're doing another deck tech. This week we're going to do one on Jund Marvel. So one of the things that one of my testing teams, Matt, wanted to test out was an Ishkanah Marvel deck. And so he sent me a bug list, so a Sultai list. I was looking it over and I thought back to the Marvel deck from Kaladesh, and I was like, I wonder if we can make this work a little bit more into a Jund shell. So I did some testing, and then I came up with this list, and I played a few games with it. Won a standard showdown, so just a little tournament, and yeah, the deck is really fun. So I thought I would kind of talk about it, and it's a really fun deck if you like Marvel decks, and it also is really good at finding its Marvels because it is just another deck that is playing Vessel of Nascency like back in the day. So we have four Aetherworks Marvel, 4 Woodweaver's Puzzleknot, 3 Ishkanah Grafwidow, 1 Noxious Gearhulk, 4 Servant of the Conduit, 3 Ulamog the Ceaseless Hunger, 4 Vessel of Nascency, 4 Harness Lightning, 2 Chandra Torch of Defiance, 2 Liliana Death's Majesty. This card's been really good in this deck. 4 Attune with Aether, 2 Tormenting Voice, and 2 Traverse the Ulvenwald. The land base is 21 lands with 4 Aether Hub, 4 Blooming Marsh, 2 Evolving Wilds, 4 Forests, 4 Game Trails, 1 Mountain, and 2 Swamps. The key cards in the deck are obviously going to be Vessel of Nascency, Ishkanah Grafwidow, Liliana, Ulamog, and Aetherworks Marvel. Man, this deck is so fun to play. There have been many games that I just get to play multiple Ishkanahs in the game, whether it's between Liliana and Traverse the Ulvenwald and Marvel. Like, the deck just plays so similarly to that green-red Marvel deck from the past, and it's really good at finding what it wants between Vessel of Nascency, Traverse the Ulvenwald, even Liliana, and Tormenting Voice. The deck just feels like my best friend. I'm gonna be honest. The deck's really fun to play. I've only played it against a few decks. Mardu being one of them. Some green white tokens variants. Different mid range decks, control decks, and zombies. And the deck's been good against basically everything. It's felt pretty decent. One of the huge things that I like about the deck is the amount of it that you can have. Between Attune, Traverse, and Vessel, you get to really cheat on lands playing as little as 21 in this big mana deck, and that feels really good, and it feels really consistent. Woodweaver's Puzzleknot, this card is so important in the deck. A lot of times with people who are playing against Marvel, I don't think they realize how much this card does. There are so many games where I just turn 1 play an Attune with Aether, turn 2 play Woodweavers, turn 3 crack Woodweavers, turn 4 Marvel, and people get upset. They think you're so lucky, and honestly, it's just what the deck does. It's really fun. Obviously you can't do too many games like this, otherwise you get a little bit bored, but overall it's just been a good experience so far with the deck, and getting to tune it a little bit. One thing that I think is probably a little bit worse in the deck than I was thinking is Chandra. The card's fine. It's a decent hit off of Marvel. I honestly wonder if it should be another Liliana and another Ulamog, or another Liliana and another Noxious Gearhulk, just to kind of round out the deck a little bit, into kind of what you're really looking to do with Marvel. One of the synergies in this deck that's really powerful is Liliana and Ulamog. When you're cracking your vessels, putting Ulamog into your graveyard, it's pretty easy to get it back with Liliana, and even though you don't get the cast trigger from that Ulamog, it's just a really hard threat to deal with, and if they don't have something right away, the card's just going to kill them really quickly. So that is the main deck and kind of my thoughts on it initially. The sideboard, we have 1 Appetite for the Unnatural, 2 Tireless Tracker, 2 World Breaker, 2 Kozilek's Return, 2 Magma Spray, 1 Evolving Wilds, 1 Mountain, 1 Nissa Vital Force, 1 Lost Legacy, and 2 Transgress the Mind. Honestly, I don't know that you actually need the red source. You kind of do, because you're boarding it when you're boarding into Magma Sprays and Kozilek's Return. But the Evolving Wilds might do. I'm not quite sure. The sideboards felt pretty good. I think that you might want Lost Legacy or the one that gets artifacts for 3 mana. Both the cards, I think that this deck is very good against a lot of things, but I don't think that Temur Marvel is one of them. I would assume that you have a really rough matchup in the Marvel Mirror because you're a very true mid-range deck and they're very much a combo deck. So because of that, you really need a good amount of interaction against them. You'll have things like World Breaker and stuff like that, but it might not be enough. Overall, the sideboards felt okay. There's a lot of work to be done all around with this deck, but it's something that I've enjoyed playing, so I wanted to do a deck talk on it. If you have any questions or comments, please leave it below. I'd be happy to talk about this deck, as I always am with any of the decks that I post. And thank you, everyone, for watching. Don't forget to check out our Patreon at patreon.com/ccmtg, and we'll see you guys all next week with another deck tag.